Hello, my name's Tom McNamara. I'm honored to be the mayor of the City of Rockford. This is our Heroes and Sheros podcast. I am really excited for all of you and for me today. I get to be with one of my favorite City of Rockford employees. We're here with Rebecca. So Rebecca, tell me a little bit, I want to know a little bit more about you. I don't have to ask which department you're from. I think the uniform gives it away.
Yes.
But would like to know a little bit more about you. How long have you been on the department? Kind of your matriculation through the ranks of the department.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me.
Thrilled to have you.
Very excited to be here to talk about this topic because I think it's fantastic. I was hired in 2009 with the fire department and was very happy to be a part of this organization as somebody who was born and raised in the city and in and out of the community and went away for a little bit for school, but then came back. So very excited to be a part of this department and serve the community. As I started out on West State Street, the training academy, learned how to be a firefighter. I had really no previous experience, so that was exciting. And then over the years became the paramedic and rode the ambulance for a little while. In 2018, promoted to lieutenant, and I spent some time, 2 or 3 years downtown, either at Station 2 or Station 1 as a lieutenant. And then in 2021 became it's kind of come like full circle, where now I am the training coordinator, so I'm back at the training academy where I learned how to be a firefighter, teaching others how to do this job. So it's been really exciting.
Wait, so are you who I need to be upset with about what I need to do this weekend?
Maybe. How about I'll say, sure, yeah, you can be upset with me about it, but it's going to be fun.
There's not going to be so just so everyone's aware, what's the exact title of what this weekend is? It's like field training.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a experience, an interactive experience on what we do.
I feel like it's a setup. I think there's going to be cameras.
I mean, it's exciting.
You're not
'cause we
denying any of this.
Maybe put you in some turnout gear and show you around the training ground and, put you through some evolutions where we can teach you some skills. I mean, you never know. You might have to hop on a truck someday and, spring into action. We'll
I really
see.
feel like my ankle hurts right now, my back.
I mean, we'll take it easy.
But no, this is exciting. Thank you for giving us a brief snapshot of the history of you and your matriculation through the department. We are talking in this series of podcasts about our employee resource groups, our ERGs, and wanted to first find out what ERG are you part of, about how long have you been part of it, and do you play a specific role in that ERG?
Yes. So I participate with our Kaleidoscope group, which is our LGBTQIA plus employee resource group for the city. I have actually been a newer member to this committee within this past year. And then I act in the role of the advisor. So what that is basically a supporting role for our individuals who are kind of taking the lead and making our meetings happen and really creating change within our city. And I think that they don't really need me that much because they do a phenomenal job. But I'm very fortunate to kind of act as a liaison and a support to whatever the ERG needs.
Awesome. Well, thanks for doing that. What does diversity, inclusion, and belonging mean to you?
So it's interesting, you think about the definition of diversity, inclusion, belonging, and it doesn't, I've always tried to maybe make something unique in my own head to really kind of like capture the true essence of what they truly mean. I think what they mean to me, outside of the definition, is, they mean that there's hope. For me, diversity, depending on what setting it is, whether it's in the Rockford Fire Department, when we recruit our employees, we want to be a reflection of our community. Diversity in a meeting room might be a difference of opinion. Diversity, has a lot of different definitions where it's applicable. Inclusion being more of an act and making people feel included, and then belonging is that feeling of like, I should be here, right? So it means a lot to me in the sense that if there's ever going to be a world where diversity, inclusion, belonging is truly embraced, it gives me hope, because I think that's where we learn. I think that's how we educate ourselves about other people. And you look around even the world today and what's happening in other communities and other countries, and you think to yourself, if we could accept each other for our differences and learn maybe a little bit about your world or your culture or your background or your story, then I feel like that makes us in turn, create just a better place. And whether that's just the city of Rockford or the whole universe, it is something I think that's very important.
So that's some beautiful thoughts. I really like that, especially it's just so apt for what's going on right now. Mm-hmm. I want to jump around a little bit because that spurred a thought, and I just want to make sure it's consistent. This is a little bit selfish for me, to be honest with you. So I really genuinely love that idea of truly being embraced, kind of meeting people where they're at and appreciate them for who they are. I will say, I think City of Rockford, we've made, and when I say City of Rockford here, I'm talking more as like an organization,
sure.
1,100 plus employees. I think we've made some small strides to being a better workplace, but I think we have like a long way to go.
Sure.
Where do you see that we could go to make that, truly more embraced, being that place? We may not be able to do it for the universe, right?
Right.
We'll work on that tomorrow.
It's a Tuesday problem.
It's a Tuesday problem. But what could we do here as an organization?
Well, I think the first thing that comes to my mind is that we're talking about it, right?
Yep.
I think that the more that we can talk about it, the more that we can create the conversation, the more that people will understand and our employees will understand that, hey, maybe I want to see, how I could learn about this group or this culture. With the employee resource groups, I think it's a fantastic idea. I think that some people feel like these employee resource groups are specific to only that group of people. And so I think one thing that we've been really trying to push out there is you don't have to be a member of the LGBTQIA plus community to participate in the employee resource group. We have a ton of allies that support our community, support this employee resource group, and that's important too. So I think that the more that we can reach out, educate, continue to have the conversation, I think that will just continue to grow over time, and I think it has already.
Awesome. So you just used the word ally that I think gets used a lot. Mm-hmm. And I may even fall in the category of what it means, but you don't know what it means. You hear allyship. What does that mean to you?
So I've had a lot of allies in my life, and thank God. If I didn't have people who allied with me, whether they completely understood maybe what I was going through before I came out to my family, they stood behind me, and they grew with me, and they educated with me, and they tried to create some sort of understanding about what I was going through.
Right.
It's almost like friendship, right? It's just supporting people where they are. Being an ally is how we create belonging, in my opinion.
Wow.
Because I feel like when you have, when you walk into the room, where you gravitate towards the people who support you back, and you support too, right? We all kind of congregate with that group. When we create that culture, that ally, those friendships, those resources, then I think, that belonging piece really kind of comes like full circle. And anybody can be an ally. Allies are also individuals who might have someone in the LGBTQIA plus community in their family, their immediate family, or a distant relative or relative, or no one at all, that they just feel that they want to educate themselves, which I find absolutely fantastic, right? I can be an ally of another group because I want to learn about other cultures, other organizations, right? So I think that ally piece is incredibly important, especially when you talk about what we can do as a city organization for our city employees to bolster diversity, inclusion, belonging, is kind of, find those allies and try to get them involved as well.
No, I appreciate that. I think it's one thing I think I shouldn't say you all. I should say I don't feel like I've always met my mark on that. And I think just continuing to improve, continuing to get to know people, continuing to appreciate people for who they are, I think is so critical. And I love your definitions and thoughts around that. So thank you. What has influenced your influence and or motivated you to join this specific ERG?
Well, I would say my motivation to be a part of this employee resource group, number one, is personal, because I am a member of the community. Married my wife in 2019 and very proud of that moment in history for us. And so number one, yes, it is very personal to me. As a city employee, my motivation to be involved with this group is because I want to give back and I want to create change and I want to invest in this organization, because I think that one thing that has always been probably part of my my network, my roots, my upbringing is that you always leave things better than when you found them. And so for me, being involved in this is quite simply like, hey, I have an opportunity to maybe create some change, maybe create some awareness and influence and education. And I don't think there's any way that I could have walked away from that.
That's awesome. What advice do you have for maybe a fellow employee, coworker, one you know, don't know, who may be watching this, who's thinking they may want to join an ERG, or maybe they're thinking there's a big gap in ERGs. There needs to be a new ERG.
Absolutely.
What's your advice to them?
So obviously, reach out to me. Find my contact information. I can get anyone connected. We've got emails that will be coming out from our group. So please, if you're interested in being a part of employee resource group, whether it's ours or someone else, reach out. We can get you connected. If you do feel like there's a group of individuals that would like to create an employee resource group, then I would say that channel goes through our HR department, and there is a process for that. And that's just filling out the application for the ERG, and there's a couple specifics that entails, the number of people and the mission and the goal and the objectives of that group to get approved from the city. And then I would say to anyone, go for it if you feel like there's a need or a space where we can continue to grow that diversity and that we continue to grow that education and awareness and inclusion for people, then I would say definitely reach out.
Awesome. Well, you mentioned earlier, and as we wrap up, that you want to invest back into an organization, want to make it better. I'll just say unequivocally, you make Rockford City a lot better.
Oh, well,
thank you for the work that you do every day. And when I say that, I think certainly the fire department, but our whole organization. So thank you for the work that you do and the impact that you have outside of just the Rockford Fire Department, but on us as an organization. Appreciate all the work that you do on behalf of the city.
Thank you.
And for those watching, again, I would say we want you to be part of our employee resource groups. Also, if you think there's a gap in our employee resource groups and you want to start a new group, we'd love that too. We have some phenomenal city employees doing great work that would love to connect with you and walk you through that process. And just thank you for following today's podcast for Heroes and Sheros.